Section 6 of The American Housewife. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Bologna Times. The American Housewife by Anonymous. Section 6. Chapter 74. Directions for broiling, boiling, and frying fish. Fish for boiling or broiling are the best the day after they are caught. They should be cleaned when first caught, washed in cold water, and half a teacup of salt sprinkled on the inside of them. If they are to be broiled, sprinkle pepper on the inside of them. Keep them in a cool place. When fish is broiled, the bars of the gridiron should be rubbed over with a little butter, and the inside of the fish put towards the fire, and not turned till the fish is nearly cooked through. Then butter the skin side and turn it over. Fish should be broiled slowly. When fresh fish is to be boiled, it should either be laid on a fish strainer or sewed up in a cloth. If not, it is very difficult to take it out of the pot without breaking. Put the fish into cold water, with the backbone down. To 8 or 10 pounds of fish, put half a small teacup of salt. Boil the fish until you can draw out one of the fins easily. Most kinds of fish will boil sufficiently in the course of 20 or 30 minutes. Some kinds will boil in less time. Some cooks do not put their fish into the water till it boils, but it is not a good plan, as the outside gets cooked too much and breaks to pieces before the inside is sufficiently done. Fish for frying, after being cleaned and washed, should be put into a cloth to have it absorb the moisture. They should be dried perfectly, and a little flour rubbed over them. No salt should be put on them, if you wish to have them brown well. For 5 or 6 pounds of fish, fry 3 or 4 slices of salt pork. When brown, take them up, and if they do not make fat sufficient to fry the fish in, add a little lard. When the fish are fried enough, take them up, and for good plain gravy mix 2 or 3 teaspoonsful of flour with a little water, and stir it into the fat the fish was fried in. Put in a little butter, pepper, and salt, if you wish to have the gravy rich. Add spices, catsup, and wine. Turn the gravy over the fish. Boiled fish should be served up with drawn butter, or liver sauce. See directions for making each, numbers 41 and 51. Fish, when put on the platter, should not be laid over each other, if it can be avoided, as the steam from the under ones makes those on the top so moist that they will break to pieces when served out. Great care and punctuality is necessary in cooking fish. If not done sufficiently, or if done too much, they are not good. They should be eaten as soon as cooked. For a garnish to the fish, use parsley, a lemon, or eggs boiled hard and cut in slices. Chapter 75. Chowder. Fry 3 or 4 slices of pork till brown. Cut each of your fish into 5 or 6 slices. Flour, and put a layer of them in your pork fat. Sprinkle on pepper and a little salt. Add cloves, mace, and sliced onions if you like. Lay on several bits of your fried pork, and crackers previously soaked soft in cold water. This process repeat till you get in all the fish. Then turn on water enough to just cover them. Put on a heated bake pan lid. When the fish have stewed about 20 minutes, take them up and mix a couple of teaspoonsful of flour with a little water, and stir it into the gravy, also a little butter and pepper. Half a pint of white wine, spices, and catsup will improve it. Bass and cod make the best chowder. Blackfish and clams make tolerably good ones. The hard part of the clams should be cut off and thrown away. 76. Stuffed and baked fish. Soak bread in cold water till soft. Drain off the water. Mash the bread fine. Mix it with a tablespoonful of melted butter, a little pepper and salt. A couple of raw eggs makes the dressing cut smoother. Add spices if you like. Fill the fish with the dressing, sew it up, put a teacup of water in your bake pan and a small piece of butter. Lay in the fish. Bake it from 40 to 50 minutes. Fresh cod, bass, and shad are suitable fish for baking. 77. Codfish. Fresh cod is good boiled, fried, or made into a chowder. It is too dry a fish to broil. Salt cod should be soaked in lukewarm water till the skin will come off easily. Then take up the fish, scrape off the skin, and put it in fresh water, and set it on a very moderate fire, where it will keep warm without boiling, as it hardens by boiling. It takes between 3 and 4 hours to cook it soft. Serve it up with drawn butter. Cold salt codfish is nice minced fine, and mixed with mashed potatoes, and warmed up, with just water enough to moisten it, and considerable butter. It makes a nice dish for breakfast. Prepared in the following manner. Pull the fish into small pieces. Soak it an hour in warm water, then drain off the water, put a little milk and butter to it, stew it a few minutes, and serve it up with soft boiled eggs. 78. Cod sounds and tongues. Soak them 4 or 5 hours in lukewarm water. Then take them out of the water, scrape off the skin, cut them once in two, and stew them in a little milk. Just before they are taken up, stir in butter and a little flour. 79. Halibut. Is nice cut in slices, salted and peppered, and broiled or fried. The fins and thick part is good boiled. 80. Striped and sea bass. Bass are good fried, boiled, broiled, or made into a chowder. 81. Blackfish are the best boiled or fried. They will do to broil, but are not so good as cooked in any other way. 82. Shad. Fresh shad are good baked or boiled, but better broiled. For broiling they should have a good deal of salt and pepper sprinkled on the inside of them, and remain several hours before broiling. The spawn and liver are good boiled or fried. Salt shad and mackerel, for broiling, should be soaked 10 or 12 hours in cold water. Salt shad, for boiling, need not be soaked only long enough to get off the scales, without you like them quite fresh. If so, turn boiling water on them, and let them soak in it an hour. Then put them into fresh boiling water, and boil them 20 minutes. To pickle shad, mix 1 pound of sugar, a peck of rock salt, 2 quarts of blown salt, and 1/4 pound of saltpetre. Allow this quantity to every 25 shad. Put a layer of the mixture at the bottom of the keg, then a layer of cleaned shad, with the skin side down. Sprinkle on another layer of salt, sugar, and saltpetre, and so on till you get in all the shad. Lay a heavy weight on the shad, to keep it under the brine. If the juice of the shad does not run out so as to form brine sufficient to cover them, in the course of a week, make a little brine and turn on to them. 83. Sturgeons. Sturgeons are good boiled or baked, but better fried. Before baking it, boil it about 15 minutes, to extract the strong oily taste, and when baked, to 8 or 10 pounds of it, put a quart of water into the pan, and bake it till tender. See directions for baking fish, No. 76. The part next to the tail is the best for baking or frying. Sturgeons are very nice cooked in the following manner. Cut it in slices nearly an inch thick. Fry a few slices of pork. When brown, take them up, and put in the sturgeon. When a good brown color, take them up, and stir in a little flour and water. Mix smoothly together. Season the gravy with salt, pepper, and catsup. Stir in a little butter, and wine if you like. Then put back the sturgeon, and let it stew a few minutes in the gravy. While the sturgeon is cooking, make forcemeat balls of part of the sturgeon and salt pork. Fry and use them as a garnish for the fish. 84. Fish cakes. Cold boiled fresh fish, or salt codfish, is nice minced fine, with potatoes, moistened with a little water, and a little butter put in, done up into cakes of the size of common biscuit, and fried brown in pork fat or butter. 85. Fish forcemeat balls. Take a little uncooked fish, chop it fine, together with a little raw salt pork, mix it with 1 or 2 raw eggs, a few bread crumbs, and season the whole with pepper and spices. Add a little catsup if you like. Do them up into small balls, and fry them till brown. 86. Lobsters and crabs. Put them into boiling water, and boil them from half to 3/4 of an hour, according to their size. Boil half a teacup of salt with every 4 pounds of the fish. When cold, crack the shell, and take out the meat, taking care to extract the blue veins, and what is called the lady in the lobster, as they are very unhealthy. If the fish are not eaten cold, warm them up with a little water, vinegar, salt, pepper, and butter. The following way of dressing lobsters looks very prettily. Pick out the spawn and red cord, mash them fine, rub them through a sieve, put in a little butter and salt. Cut the lobsters into squares, and warm it, together with the spawn, over a moderate fire. When hot, take it up, and garnish it with parsley. The cord and spawn are a handsome garnish for any kind of fish. 87. Scallops. Are nice boiled, and then fried, or boiled and pickled, in the same manner as oysters. Take them out of the shells. When boiled, pick out the hearts, and throw the rest away, as the heart is the only part that is healthy to eat. Dip the hearts in flour, and fry them in lard till brown. The hearts are good stewed, with a little water, butter, salt, and pepper. 88. Eels. Eels, if very large, are best split open, cut into short pieces, and seasoned with salt and pepper, and broiled several hours after they have been salted. They are good cut into small strips, and laid in a deep dish, with bits of salt pork, seasoned with salt and pepper, and covered with pounded rusked bread, then baked half an hour. Small eels are the best fried. 89. Trout. Trout are good boiled, broiled, or fried. They are also good stewed a few minutes, with bits of salt pork, butter, and a little water. Trout, as well as all other kinds of freshwater fish, are apt to have an earthy taste. To remove it, soak them in salt and water a few minutes, after they are cleaned. 90. Clams. Wash and put them in a pot, with just water enough to prevent the shells burning at the bottom of the pot. Heat them till the shells open. Take the clams out of them, and warm them with a little of the clam liquor, a little salt, butter, and pepper. Toast a slice or two of bread, soak it in the clam liquor, lay it in a deep dish, and turn the clams onto it. For clam pancakes, mix flour and milk together to form a thick batter. Some cooks use the clam liquor, but it does not make the pancakes as light as the milk. To each pint of the milk put a couple of eggs and a few clams. They are good taken out of the shells without stewing, and chopped fine, or stewed and put into the cakes whole. Very large long clams are good taken out of the shells without stewing and broiled. 91. Stewed oysters. Strain the oyster liquor, rinse the bits of shells off the oysters, then turn the liquor back on to the oysters, and put them in a stewpan. Set them where they will boil up, then turn them on to buttered toast. Salt, pepper, and butter them to your taste. Some cooks add a little walnut catsup or vinegar. The oysters should not be cooked till just before they are to be eaten. 92. To fry oysters. Take those that are large, dip them in beaten eggs, and then in flour, or fine bread crumbs. Fry them in lard till of a light brown. They are a nice garnish for fish. They will keep good for several months if fried when first caught, salted and peppered, then put into a bottle, and corked tight. Whenever they are to be eaten, warm them in a little water. 93. Oyster pancakes. Mix equal quantities of milk and oyster juice together. To a pint of this liquor, when mixed, put a pint of wheat flour, a few oysters, a couple of eggs, and a little salt. Drop it by the large spoonful into hot lard. 94. Oyster pie. Line a deep pie plate with pie crust. Fill it with dry pieces of bread, cover it over with puff paste. Bake it till a light brown, either in a quick oven or bake pan. Have the oysters just stewed by the time the crust is done. Take off the upper crust, remove the pieces of bread, put in the oysters, season them with salt, pepper, and butter. A little walnut catsup improves the pie, but is not essential. Cover it with the crust. 95. Scalloped oysters. Pound rusked bread or crackers fine. Butter scallop shells or tins, sprinkle on the bread crumbs, then put in a layer of oysters, a small lump of butter, pepper, salt, and a little of the oyster juice. Then put on another layer of crumbs and oysters, and so on till the shells are filled, having a layer of crumbs at the top. Bake them till a light brown. Section 6.